I'm Emma Sala, and I'm an actor. The first thing I did with the Playwrights Lab, I believe, was a reading of Decision Height by Meredith Dana Levy, directed by Bob Moss, when I was 16 or 17. Initially, I was pretty intimidated. I had never worked with a New York director before, but I learned pretty quickly that he's really nice and pretty easy to communicate with. I'd say the most difficult thing about working on a new play is finding the character, because you have nobody else to sort of go off of, and sometimes the director and the playwright are still kind of figuring that out as well. But I'd say that one of the best things is the process of figuring that out as a team and being able to sort of be the first person and a trailblazer in that way. The first Winter Festival I did, which was also my first year as an undergrad at Hollins, I did 2 shows back-to-back, and those were Helvetica by Will Coleman and An Initial Condition by Taylor Grunlow. Initial Condition was actually directed by Bob Moss again, so I got to know him even better and sort of get to know his directing style even more, and I was really grateful because I had only worked with him for about a week before, and now we're friends. Actually, that first year when I was doing Helvetica, I was also doing another playwright show called Iris and Walter by Nicole Adkins. And so at the same time that I was rehearsing Iris and Walter, in the evenings I would go and rehearse Helvetica. So it was kind of a blur and definitely an adventure. Taking Helvetica and An Initial Condition to New York for their performances at the Bob Moss Theater was stressful and really fun. So the audience for those 2 shows was an invited audience that included theater producers and prospective faculty and alums and donors, and basically a lot of people who could help or hinder the Playwrights Lab, so there was a lot riding on it. I tried not to think about that while I was on stage, and luckily it worked. I think we did a pretty good job. So my second year at Hollins, I did another Winter Festival show called Coupler, also by Meredith Dana Levy and directed by Todd Ristaw. And that show was sort of a romantic comedy set on a train. There were a lot of moving parts. It was alley staging, so that was another challenge. And it's probably one of my favorite shows I've ever done. So after our initial production of that show, we took it to KCACTF and did a performance there, which was an adventure and a lot of fun. And then we also took that one to the Bob Moss Theater in New York for a staged reading. And one of the really amazing things about that is that we got a Broadway actor, Josh Grassetti, who's from the Roanoke area, to play a role, and I got to play opposite of him. It was the first time I think I felt like I'm a real New York actor now. I kind of know what I'm doing. A lot of that decision was based on the fact that I had worked with the Playwrights Lab so much before, and I had made so many friends and so many contacts and seen just the way that everybody in the lab collaborates with each other. And I wanted to be a part of that, and I knew that at the end of my 2 years, I would leave with not only new friends, but new collaborators and new contacts that could help me in the future, and I could help them out as well. One of the classes I was most looking forward to was Performance as Profession, because it's more about the business of acting, and I feel like a lot of times actors take a lot of acting classes, but they don't always know how to get an agent, or how to join a union, or should I join a union, and where should I move, and things like that. And a lot of those questions are answered in Performance as Profession. I also was in a class called Ensembles and Collaboration, in which we sort of debriefed everything that we did in rehearsals with our professor, Saffron Hankey. And I found that class really useful, because sort of moments where I felt like maybe I should have spoken up in a rehearsal and I didn't because I was afraid that I would say the wrong thing, I would always go into Ensembles and Collaboration, and Saffron would be like, no, you should share your opinion, and then if you're wrong, then you're wrong, and then you just accept it and move on. Advanced scene study is about sort of the mechanics of a scene and working with your scene partner and sort of getting down into the nitty-gritty of what acting is. Advanced performance techniques was another class I took that's kind of the opposite of advanced scene study, in that it's more the crazier side of theater. So it's non-traditional types like commedia and clowning and melodrama and a lot of things that were sort of out of my comfort zone. And it's more about sort of finding the choices that you can make to make those scenes make sense and work for the audience and for yourself. One of the things that I think people sometimes see as a deterrent is how short the summer is and how you're packing a lot into just 6 weeks. But you'd be surprised how much that sort of makes it stick in your brain. And also, I personally feel like I've done some of my best work in this program because it's gotten me out of my head. I only have 6 weeks to do it. I gotta really commit to it. And because of that, I'm doing great work. All of the people around me are doing great work, and the collaboration is of a kind that I haven't found anywhere else.